Werksmans Attorneys says there are various warning signs that suggest that a business requires rescuing. These vary from a business being financially constrained to the inability to pay salaries. However, due to a lack of or not enough education on business rescue, companies don't apply for this process early enough to rescue their businesses, and this could lead to these companies to become insolvent.
Companies are not considering business rescue early enough in the distress curve. By the time it comes to the lawyers or to the business rescue practitioners, there's not much value left to, in fact, rescue.
Werksmans Attorneys says no company is safe from business rescue, especially for the purpose of job preservation. This as the country's unemployment rate remains high. In the third quarter of 2024, the unemployment rate decreased to 32.1% from 33.5% in the second quarter. The legal firm says business rescue is meant to prevent a company from being liquidated. It says since 2011, an increasing number of firms, both small and large JSE-listed companies, have been applying for this process to save their businesses. But since the inception of this process, business rescue practitioners continue to face a multitude of risks in trying to save a company.
The business rescue practitioner comes in literally blindsided to a large degree and has got to speak to the stakeholders, talk to the employees, talk to the trade unions, talk to suppliers, and get them to buy into the fact that this company is not going into liquidation. It's going into a hiatus period through a moratorium, and you need to work with us to make this work through the plan, etc. And it comes down to the skill set of being able to speak to people. And for me, that's a fundamental on the part of business rescue practitioners. Some guys are good at it, some are not. And I've seen, I always remember this, somewhere on the West Rand years ago, a practitioner standing up, it was probably about the third business rescue in South Africa, and he was facing a crowd of 3,000 people. And he had to get them over the line, and he actually did so, because he was terrified, firstly, and secondly, he spoke to the fact that you're facing liquidation, jobs are going to come to an end, you need to work with us as stakeholders in the business rescue system. And I think it comes down to that, and that's why we have junior practitioners who should be partnering with, let's say, experienced practitioners and the senior practitioners to spread the love or spread the ability to do this eventually in South Africa.
At the same time, business rescue faces challenges in trying to revive a company, such as getting post-commencement funding. This is funding needed to help revive a business post the business rescue process. SARS says it should not be seen as a funder of business rescue and urges practitioners to look for other ways of funding this process.
SARS shouldn't be seen as the funder of business rescues. We have a number of practitioners who's using taxes to in fact fund business rescues. And that's reflected, I think, in the huge post-commencement book that SARS needs to manage. And SARS doesn't necessarily want to take on business rescues, but we might be forced to. I think it's critically important. And you know, if business rescue practitioners or the fraternity thinks that a fund needs to be set up, then it's something that they need to discuss, you know, within the industry, with the various role players and stakeholders.
The Department of Trade, Industry and Competition reiterates that business rescue practitioners need to come together to explore other options for post-commencement funding.
We need innovative PCF product offerings, which means we must engage the banks and say, if you don't have that in your model, how else can we have it? I think that's the question that we must be engaging the financial institutions and your PE providers. But we also need to be engaging stakeholders early. It influences your prospects. We must be appointing credible BRPs. We must be assessing the nature of financing required. We must be developing sound rescue plans. We must be developing sound turnaround models.
Business rescue practitioners believe that because this is still a fairly new concept, many are not willing to engage with it due to the multitude of risks attached to it. Business rescue has been implemented for 14 years now. Nothando, Magudulela, SABC News, Johannesburg.